Today's interview will mostly be about Ryan's AWE2 event, which was massively successful from our fans' perspective and from the organizer's perspective. Ryan will let us know soon. And the basic latest news and events around the arm wrestling community. It has been a very long time, Ryan, since we talked together on this channel, maybe 1.5 years at least. How have you been, brother?
Man, yeah, I've been good. Thank you for having me back on the show. It's been a I guess the last year and a half for me has been a big change in the way that I interact on YouTube as a whole. So it's nice in the wake of an event to be invited back onto a show like yours to be able to talk about everything. So I really appreciate it, man. But yeah, thank you.
Thanks for being here. And once again, thanks to all of you guys, all of the subscribers. We recently hit 30K, which is a massive milestone, at
Yeah,
least for an arm
very
wrestling channel. And Ryan, you are very, very close to 100,000 subscribers.
I'm so close. I'm about to crack into 99,000. I think I'm at 98.8 or something like that. So we're getting real close. I was getting stagnant for a while, but now with AWE2 on the back, I think we're got the engines going again. So 100K just around the corner.
So, what was the idea behind AWE2 or AWE when you first started it? Were you not happy with the already existing promotions? What did you want to do differently?
Look, AWE, uh, in its origins, the roots of where it's come from is myself, Matt Connolly, Dave Stockbridge. For a number of years, we've known each other through arm wrestling here in Australia, and we every time we got together, we always were bubbling with ideas. We were always like, "Yeah, we should do this, we should do that." We never did it. If we wind the clock back, what the catalyst was that started it was back in November of last year when I started organizing with Chance Shaw to have a match. And I was just going to bring Chance Shaw to Brisbane and we were just going to do it at my local club. And Matt and Dave said, "Hey, we've got an event on down here within a similar time. Can we host your match, you and Chance? And we'll put it up in professional production." And I was like, yeah, for sure. And we just got together then and we started working things out. And we put together a card um, and we started to recognize that, hey, look, the three skill sets that we have combine pretty damn well, and we can make some big things happen. So fast forward AWE2, we made a lot of improvements on AWE1, and we think we can continue that trend. But the main goal for AWE is it's like the name suggests, it's arm wrestling entertainment. It is an entertainment based organization. It's not a sports federation as such. It's more an entertainment based company that is its objective is to give the Southern Hemisphere in particular a platform to demonstrate all of their arm wrestling skills and to give a competition where the best in the region can start to grow and move through. So we've had it a little bit difficult in the last sort of era of arm wrestling where for us to get involved in professional tournaments, we have to fly long haul to the Northern Hemisphere. Um, so it's really nice to be able to have something in our region where we can be seen as equivalent to East First West, equivalent to King of the Table, and in our own rights have something legitimate. So that's kind of the main thing.
Yeah. I haven't seen many of those comments, but I saw at least a couple of them where people were saying that East versus West is already there and King of the Table is already there and they are better. I don't think it is fair to compare AWE with King of the Table and East versus West because it is in the beginning stages. If we compare the audio and video qualities of East versus West 2 compared to AWE, I think AWE 2 was way, way ahead of that. And King of the Table also figured out their perfect video and audio quality by their second event only. The first one's audio was like not good. It wasn't good. So considering that, it was really cool. So who were the people who were helping you with the streaming, live streaming? Because it looked like a professional
Yes.
event, so you cannot manage that
Yeah,
by yourself for sure.
oh yeah, it's definitely a professional production crew. We're talking like a 7, 8 man production crew when it comes to video, sound, lighting. My favorite thing, just to shout out to the production crew, if you guys are watching, Chris, who oversees everything, he's amazing. My favorite thing about the production is how good they are at doing replays. Damn, they're good. I love the fact that they do replays on the money, and I love the fact that the commentary team can just ask for a replay and they give it to them. They do it in slow mo. I could, like, as a commentator, I could sit there, for instance, or as the referee who's doing the challenge, um, you can sit there and talk to the production crew and say, all right, slow it down for me. All right, press pause there. I need to back a couple of frames. Like, we can communicate much like the professional football and all that sort of stuff. And we can make a call based on that. And that's something that the fans see as well. So I love the production crew. And yeah, they are a professional team. They're not arm wrestlers. They're a professional production crew. And we saw that as incredibly important when we began this. We were like, well, we're not going to do it with Ryan Bowen's cameras sitting on a tripod. Like, that's going to go wrong. That's going to go absolutely wrong. So these guys are a world class production crew,
Yeah.
and yeah, and we're looking at improving our venue and our staging and our lighting. That's like AWE1 was outdoors in the middle of the day, for instance, and it just didn't have the same effect. AWE2, we got it inside in at the Adelaide Oval, which is one of the premier sporting establishments in the country. And we were in one of their main rooms there, and the lighting and everything was amazing. So we were happy with how that came out, and the production crew were awesome. So that we recognize, again, myself, Matt, and Dave, we recognize that for arm wrestling to become something significant, and for AWE to become something significant, we need to give a product to the fans that is equivalent to that of any other sport you see out there. It can't be half-assed. It's got to be legitimate. So we're doing our absolute best to tick all those boxes as quickly as we can.
Mhm. I remember your community post where you asked about some feedback around the event, and I do have a couple of feedbacks at least. First one
Yeah,
was
please.
regarding the replays that you just mentioned. First of all, immediate replays, and I do agree with you, they were simply awesome. But I do think they were kind of short. The replays were sometimes over in like just 2 3 seconds, and the rest of the time we had that top camera angle view
Yep.
of the whole cage. And I saw there were two other cameramen. One was on the left side of the cage from the viewer's perspective, and one was the on the other side. During that time between the rounds, I think those two cameras could have been
Mm.
utilized in terms of replays. So maybe instead of just one camera angle, we can get two camera angles, or sometimes we can show the
Yeah.
athletes talking with each other
Yeah.
as well in between the
Yeah,
rounds.
I agree. I agree with you completely. And that's one of the exciting things is, like, we get to sit down with the production crew in a post event, and we talk about all these things, and they take notes, and I've, like I said, I've been so happy with how quickly, like, how skillful they are, given that they don't know the sport,
Yeah.
how good a job they're doing. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So I think that the more that they get familiar with the sport, and the more that we brief them on what would look amazing, I think they'll start to nail it, and it'll just get better and better. So I agree completely with you there, Pradeep.
Yeah. So otherwise, I will say the event was amazing. At once, I don't know in which video I heard you talk about refing, and you said he did an awesome job. That's not what I thought when I watched the matches. I have some heavy criticism about the refereeing, and
Yeah.
that was my only problem. Other than that, the event was absolutely awesome. There were simply no issues. First of all, the 1080p 60 frame per second video. That's what for the first time I'm seeing in a live stream, 1080p and 60 FPS, and that's something that more promoters should try. 25 FPS just doesn't suit well for arm wrestling like core sports does. But refing, I will say it was kind of a pressure situation for the referee as well, and he
Yeah.
was at some
Look,
points he was seeking help from others, like what calls he should give. I think it's
I,
a
I I love Tim. I love Tim Grayman. Being a referee is always a hard job, but
yeah.
poor Tim was. I don't want to throw Tim under the bus, because I do think he improved a lot on AWE1. Um, but he was nervous. He was nervous. He just meeting Todd Hutchings and that for the first
Yeah.
time was a big deal for him. He's been a sports arm wrestling fan and a competitor himself for about a decade. So the first time he's met someone like that, he was nervous. He was genuinely nervous. Again, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I'm going to anyway. When Tim met Artem, he introduced himself as Artem to Artem. So, like,
Yeah.
and he was like,
Yeah.
come to the tables, guys. There was like a shake in his hands and stuff. So
Mm.
I don't, like I said, I think he did a great job. I thought he was much more improved than AWE1. The refereeing itself, like, I think implementing the refereeing is one thing, which I think personally Tim did a good job. Um, the rule sets itself, what AWE is doing is that there's a few differences to what we've been used to at other organizations, and uh, and that is for the most part what I think will take some time for people to get used to. The challenge system, the running foul system, like you'll never see you'll never see you'll never see us restart a match when there's a running foul unless it is actually no, you'll just never see us restart a match on a running foul. It'll always continue on. It'll either continue on until someone wins or there'll be a professional foul and that person will lose. So I think people were I thought the referees did a great job at picking up.
Yeah.
Like I saw Todd Hutchings makes comments, for instance, saying that it was funny down here in Australia, you get called for an elbow foul half an hour after it happened. And that was because Todd didn't notice that he was on a running foul where the down ref had called him on a running foul, and then the match went on for
Yeah.
another minute, and then he won, and then the down ref lets the head ref know, hey, there was this, and then the challenge rule as well. I really like the challenge rule.
Yeah.
Every athlete has the ability to challenge any call they want. If they challenge it correctly, they retain the challenge. If they challenge it incorrectly, they lose the challenge, and that's it for the rest of the match. So I think some of those things will take a while to get used to because we see a lot more restarts in other arm wrestling. So we want to keep the pace flowing. We want to keep the running fouls as a mainstay. The challenge I love, and the starts as well. The close your thumbs, close your hands, go. Much more. I mean, it's very WAL. I personally like that for the entertainment's sake. I personally like that for getting rid of the arguments that happen in the setups. I don't like the long extended arguments that we see with like the Devon and Prudnik match, for example. I don't like that. I don't want to see that. And I think that that close your thumbs, close your hands, go eliminates a lot of that potential.
Yeah. But sometimes a little bit controversy is good as well. People seem to
Yeah,
enjoy it.
there will always be controversy, I guess. Like, I don't think I don't know if you can possibly referee a whole 10 match super match card without some form of controversy. The Mario 10 bucks Rickard Bornman match, for example, that was probably the loosest match of the lot. Um, and like Rickard as a new guy didn't know what was happening half the time, and he was upset that he could feel Mario taking things and Mario was doing a good job as the experienced arm wrestler to make Rickard look like the bad guy, and it was hard for Tim to get those guys to just settle down and put their elbows down and keep their elbows where they are, and um, always with the referee is always leaning in the back of their mind. They're always remembering that they have to put on a show. They have to get the match started. They don't want to just foul people out. So um, it can get a little messy and drama can happen. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because you know how you say, Pradeep, that you thought the refereeing was bad. I've seen a real mix. Like I've seen a lot of comments saying the referee was bad, but I've also seen a lot of comments saying this refereeing was amazing. So it's interesting when I keep my finger on the pulse and think about the overall reaction to the refereeing.
I'll give
I
another.
think
I'll give
it's
another
actually a
review
net positive.
in
Yeah.
kind of a middle perspective. Another review about the refing. When there were some mistakes, what I saw that he was not afraid to talk with the other referee or to even check if he made a mistake or not. And there were some mistakes that were corrected. Even in the Toddzilla match, there was a big elbow foul from Todd, and that was corrected probably a couple of minutes later. So that's usually I've seen that referees, when they make mistakes, they don't want to show on camera that they
They
made a
just dig
mistake,
in.
and they somehow try to justify it, and they
Yeah,
always
yeah.
they never try to correct their mistakes. So that's one positive thing that I saw about the ref.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, yeah. Again overall. I think it was a net positive, a big improvement on AWE one. There's always room for improvement. I think our down refs could improve. I think our head ref could improve. I think our athletes will get better at not not breaking the rules too much. But yeah, overall, I was really happy with it.
Yeah, and the event was fast paced, no wastage of time. I think it was absolutely awesome. So let's talk about some of the important and viral matches from the event. First of all, your match against Artem Ternenko. People were talking about illegal King's move in that match. That kind of became the. But nobody's saying that had it not been for that King's move, you would have lost that match. Nobody's saying that. People are saying you would have still won, but why, Ryan? Why did you rob Artem in that one round with that King's move?
And again, I think this is a 50-50 call. Like, I've seen the photos and I've seen the different camera angles that not everyone may have seen, and I actually don't think that I commit a foul. I think I know I come very close, and I think look, if 50% of people disagree with me, I'm fine with that because it's right on the borderline. The AWE rule is that the humerus must stay horizontal if you are in the defensive position. Can't break the horizontal. If you're on the offense, you can go right under the table if you so want to. So I think that uh, when my humerus definitely went below the horizontal. I'll debate that I was at center or on the offense when that happened, and when Artem surged, I'll debate that my humerus was horizontal. It's touch and go. I'll admit that it's touch and go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and look, it was one of those rounds where Adam did a great job and he pushed me, and I had to go there. Like, but yeah, I think that if you reviewed it, if a referee reviewed it, I don't know what would they decide. I don't know. What would you decide? Have you seen the other angles?
Yeah. First of all, I think the confusion was because everywhere when that rule was changed recently, I think it was 3, 4 years ago, whatever it was, the rule was it is a foul even in the neutral position. And I read on the community post, no, under your video, I think when you replied to someone, you said the rule in AWA is if you are on the I think you said if you are in the losing side, you cannot dip your shoulder below the table. But everywhere else, the rule says even if you're in a neutral position, which you were in that match, still you cannot dip. So are the rules different from other
Yeah,
organizations? That's what I want to
our
check.
our rules are written that neutral and offensive are fine. It's only defensive you must be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I mean, what's
that's the
neutral? That's
difference.
neutral. That's defensive. Like it's very close.
Yeah, because
So
not many people were aware of that rule because everywhere else it says even in neutral position your shoulder cannot dip below the table. That's why people were saying that that was an illegal king's move.
if you actually go and look at round four, Artem actually fouls.
Yeah.
If we're getting specific about it, Artem's shoulder goes way below the table in a defensive position, but no one notices it because I win the round comfortably. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember that. And the next match, big match, was the main event. Todd Hutchings was versus Mate Virangi Heta Morris. Todd said after the Marcio match in WL 2019 that he couldn't close his hand. His hand was that much pumped, and this time he said a similar thing after this match. So it was a close match. I kept on saying in a couple of videos at least that this is going to be a very close match. People are saying that this is going to be one-sided because Lachlan beat Mate Varangi and Todd beat Lachlan, so this is going to be a mismatch. And I was like, Lachlan has a flop press. Todd Hutchings does not have that. He'll have to just sit there patiently and wait for him to gas out, and that's the only way he's going to win this match. Or if he's just too strong, that he's just going to side pressure through him straight to the pad, which is kind of an unlikely situation. And that's exactly how that match went. One thing that I saw, Ryan, is Heta Morris has a very strong defensive game. He kind of got tired there. Endurance may not be that good, but the power in the defensive side is really good. But offensive side, I didn't feel that much. I know in your match he did show some offense, but you were also able to hold him for some time without a wrist. So how did you analyze his arm wrestling abilities from your own match or from Lachlan or now from the match with Todd Hutchings?
Yeah, I was really impressed with Matei Urangi. I thought he stepped it up. I know going. I mean, Todd Hutchins quite clearly is the most significant opponent that he's ever had, and there were a lot of people that had said it's a mismatch, it's a whitewash, it's just going to be three flashpins. So I was really proud of him that he actually made Todd work. And as you said, Todd did describe the match as one of the most exhausting matches he's ever done. Both Todd and Matteo Rangi afterwards, their hands and the pump that they had. Like, yeah, Todd said he couldn't close his hand at all after it. So Matteo Rangi did outstandingly well, and yeah, the lack of that press from Todd or that ability to press really gave an opportunity for Matteo Rangi to get into the lane. I think Matteo Rangi uh, it was a good match for him stylistically because of that. I do agree with you in the analysis that he had a good defense and struggled with offense. There were moments there where he started to get back center and he started to get a superior hand position. And I thought to myself, here it comes. He's going to pin Todd Hutchins, but you got to give Todd credit. He has an unbelievable amount of endurance on side pressure. I talked to him afterwards and I said, "Where's the end of the rope on that? Like, were you close? Were you close to conceding? And he said yes, I was very close to gassing on side pressure. But I'm like, it is phenomenal that he can stay there that long and and Mate Rangi just ended up having to just like voluntarily put his arm down because he was just he was just shattered. So it really impressed for both of them. To be honest, I was very happy as a promoter that the match was as balanced as it was for a main event, even though it was essentially a 4-0. I mean, Todd lost a round on fouls, but the performance of the match didn't disappoint the fans. Everyone really got behind it, and Todd pretty much said straight away, "Look, I'd happily come back and have a rematch with Mate Rangi any day." And um, one thing that Todd said to me afterwards that really made me proud of the whole region was he said that Australia and Oceania arrived tonight in a performance. So um, it's been a long time. The arm wrestling world has often looked down on this region, and Mate Rangi doing as well as he did against Todd was one of the big changes in that tonight on the
Yeah.
other night.
Lachlan also won comfortably, and he even went on to Engin's show and said that these easy matches are no fun for him. He needs some difficult matches. I thought that Jordan Sill's hand may be too much for once to shock Lachlan without the straps, but then he would win in the end. But even without the straps, his cupping ability was way too much. So Lachlan is also looking really strong right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And
Again, and Todd Hutchins said of Lachlan, he said I've never seen. He said I've never been able to do that to Jordan Sill. What Lachlan did, he said that was very impressive. And again, to quote Todd, he was saying I'm taking very seriously the match with Lachlan now because, of course, Todd and Lachlan will face at AWE3 as the main event for the Intercontinental Belt. And Todd was after watching that performance, Todd was like, "No, I'm taking very seriously that match. That was a very impressive win over Jordan."
that's one rematch that I'm still kind of doubtful about. I don't think Brother Lachlan has a chance. I don't think, and there's a
Mm.
reason. There's a reason behind that. First of all, everyone knows that literally everyone top rolls Todd Hutchings. Nobody goes in a hook against Todd. Second of all, Lachlan does not have a top roll, unless he.
Yeah, but Lachlan doesn't have a top roll, but he's just getting stronger at his hook. Like he's just getting better at it. Um, that's the thing. I think Lachlan's evolution is one where he's flirted with trying to establish a top role, and now he's kind of back to realizing he's a pronated hooker. So he's what Todd was able to do to him last time was force him into a supinated hook, and then Todd can use his elbow conditioning to push sideways and unbalance Lachlan. Um, Lachlan, if Lachlan can keep some pronation in his hook, he's very difficult to pin, and I think they'd get dug down in a war if that was the case. So, um, look, I think Lachlan's done everything to earn the rematch, given that Todd has now come and beaten Mate Urangi. Lachlan's beaten Mate Urangi twice in a row, and you have to say he's done it. He did it more convincingly than Todd did. I know styles make matches, and Todd's different, and the shapes are different. But look, Todd Hutchins deserves to be the favorite going into that match, but I think it'll be closer than last time.
Yeah, for sure. Because the way Todd arm wrestles, he's not forcing anyone in a hook. You can see even with guys who are like 10% below Todd's level, Todd is like maybe after 90 seconds he can slowly get curl them in. But Todd is not forcing anyone in a hook. So that's why being a top roller, although even that is really difficult because he can stay there almost all day. But hook versus hook, I just don't see any way, man. Like, when was the last time you saw Todd Hutchings getting beat? Dave Chaffee, now, we don't know. We know that Dave's hook is not what it used to be, but even in practice pool, Dave always top rolls Todd Hutchings. You must
Mm.
have seen that he never goes in a hook against Todd,
Well,
even in
again, I
practice.
know that look, we'll get a bit more data. Lachlan's about to face Mike Yellow, so we'll see that. But and Mike Yellow's hung with Todd Hutchins in a hook, and he's beaten Todd Hutchins in tournaments before as well. So
Yeah.
look, whether or not he's there yet, Lachlan is closing the gap. Lachlan's form, like against Jordan, it was again. I'm quoting Todd a lot. But Todd said very clearly after the match, after watching Lachlan and Jordan, Todd said, "I've never been able to beat Jordan in a hook like that." Um, and he said, "Look, I'm 50-50 on matches with Jordan." And he again, just quoting Todd, he said, I'm taking very seriously this match with Lachlan now because you can see he's in red hot form. Yeah. And I don't know if you saw any of his after pulls with like Artem, for instance. Like I know Artem just pulled
Todd.
uh Pavlo Demyanyev
Yeah,
on left, for
left.
instance. And like Lachlan gripped up with Artem on the after table, and you can see that it's the gap between those two, for instance, on left is absolutely night and day. Like he could Lachlan just held him anywhere, expressionless and not even not even close to being troubled. So Lachlan's level is very, very high right now. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, but Artem just had a match with Mario, and that was an absolute war.
Of course, but they did it on right as well, and like I don't think Artem would debate that he's not even close to
Yeah,
Lachlan, you know, on any arm. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. And you mentioned Mike Elo. Mike's style, I think, is completely different. The way he comes crashing down, and that's why he beat Lachlan as well. Even at that time, 2019, I think it was. If Mike Aiello's style was any different than that crashing down kind of a press plus hook mix move, I think Lachlan could have beaten him even back then as well, and that's why he beat Todd Hutchings, because Todd is not Toddzilla here. Todd's hook is here, right in the center or on the
Yeah.
offensive. We have not seen Todd doing those grinding hook battles in the defensive position. If somebody gets Todd here, he either pins
Mm.
Todd or he's going to get top rolled. That Todd is going to lose anyways. So that's going to be did Todd offer you any discount, or was it the regular $5,500 kind of price, or did he increase his price?
We got the Todd Zilla package, the premium package. No, look, Todd. I'm very grateful for Todd for the time it takes to get down to Australia is significant.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Todd was on a percentage of the pay per view. That's what I will say. There was no fixed rate, and that was the way that all the internationals were paid. And so that is the way that we'll continue in the future, where we pay for their travel, we pay for their accommodation, and the marquee pullers are put on a percentage of the pay per view. So they're all very much I guess valuable to the organization in the sense that being part of the commission encourages everybody to market, everyone to really push forward. And yeah, look, Todd was no doubt the marquee guy. He was on the biggest cut. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you are able to talk about that, I think there is no way. You mentioned somewhere around $35,000 was the expenses. Was it Australian dollar?
So yeah, that's the number that I've heard floating around. Look,
You said it. What do you
when you
mean by
go,
floating around? You said it.
I said, where did I say? I mean, we talk about I've had lots of numbers thrown at me, but yeah, look, it's not hard to do the math in terms of flights, accommodation, all that sort of stuff for everybody. Sorry, my phone was just ringing. In terms of flights, accommodation for everybody, that was one of the things that we had to take care of between myself, Dave, and Matt. We've sourced sponsors. We've contributed our own funds as well. We really are doing this on the premise of focusing on reaching profitability within about a 3 to 4 to 5 event succession. We ideally want to be at the point where sponsors cover all of those essential costs, and then the pay per view is the cream. And ultimately, we want to get to the point where we can get out from behind the paywall because our sponsorship levels are so good that we're just live and free to everyone. So the good thing is we're in a position where everyone who is a financial contributor to AWE is happy, and that's the most important thing. That we're happy and we're seeing results that are good indicators that we're going to continue to grow and expand. I think we've done a really good job of collecting media. We have four, sorry, phone call. We have for AWE2 and AWE1 partially as well. We've collected so much good camera footage. Not only is it what you saw that went out in the live stream, but we had videographers there as well that were just capturing the emotions of the event. Like when we come to putting on the highlight promo for AWE3, man, it's gonna look good. Trust me, the content's gonna flow. And at the end of the day, we have a number of brands that we're representing. As you can see, we've got a few of them here. We've got Barbell Foods, Bunsters, and all these sponsors, Apopoly and that. Um, those guys really, like, for us, it's about delivering genuine advertising value to them that is in excess of what they could purchase through other mainstream opportunities. So if we've achieved that, which I think we will over the next month, like I said, we've got so much media to turn into content across all these various platforms that I think these guys will be impressed. That will then secure the funding to be able to cover flights and accommodation for an extended period of time for a lot of high quality athletes. And then the pay per view is the cream, and that's what everyone's getting paid profits off. So, yeah, we're in a good place. I think we're very happy.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask because I was thinking that there is no way that just the pay per view sales could have covered even half of the expenses. But it's good to see that the first event was kind of successful. At least the reviews were positive. Everyone is talking about. People are comparing it with King of the Table. Like I read at least 3, 4 comments, 5 comments, people saying that this was better than King of the Table. So my next question will be: are you planning on the same format, like 10 super matches, best of 7 rounds, or maybe you want to cut down, or maybe first 5 matches as a undercard just to attract the audience to buy the pay-per-view, or then 5, 6 main event matches on
We
pay-per-view?
we 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 want the show to go for about 2.5 hours. That's our sweet spot. So I think that to achieve that, we need to have between 7 and 10 matches, depending on that. So we'll look to continue that. It feels right with the pace of the show. I think that that's about the right sweet spot. Um, Affordability and all that sort of stuff, that's no worries at all. And obviously, we have a bunch of athletes that are starting to become, let's call them regulars. People like Mario Tembakas, Lachlan Adair, myself, Ricard Bornman. These guys are names that you'll see continuously pop up, and we'll just, as that churns around, Gunther Baikovs, for example, is now the two-time AWE heavyweight champion. There's a good chance, for instance, that I will face him next. That just seems right because of what is going on in the system. Um, he's climbing up, and he's now beaten Mario Tembakas and Marcus Satirai. So he's effectively, like, in Australia, at least, Gunther is ranked 3 in Australia, only behind myself and Lachlan Adair. So it makes sense that I would now face him. Um, so we've got a natural flow like that, and we'll always, of course, bring the internationals as well, the measuring sticks. And if those internationals, like Todd Hutchings has in this instance, become the champion, he's now the holder of the belt. We will always be inviting those guys back to defend their title as well. So it'll be a good solid mix of internationals at that 6 to 10 match rate, I reckon, per event.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts and maybe even plans about Indian arm wrestling, like AWE for Ryan Bowen versus Mazahir Saidu, or Rahul Panekar versus the best 70-75 kg Australian guy? I think these matches can be really awesome.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Like I said, I'm big on giving the Southern Hemisphere and these regions of the world the opportunity to really showcase what their talents are. So we'd love to include India, of course. I think Raul Panica against Josh Barker or something like that would be phenomenal. Both 70 kilos. That would be amazing. I'd love to pull Mazza here at some stage as well. These are all names that interest me, and I think the sport growing in India it's very obvious that it's growing in India. I see the stats on my own channels that the percentage of viewers there's a lot now from India, and it's increasing. I think that story is really important. When I look at I'm quite honored that people compare AWE to King of the Table and East West West already. I think one of the things that is critical to sport and development of fans for the sport is to have a continuity of storyline in respect to the names that they see regularly on there. So even though we don't have the Hermes Gasparinis and the Levan Saganishvilis, we still have plenty of interesting stories to be told, and the arm wrestling quality is good. I think that having Southern Hemisphere develop some stars through AWE is an exciting thing, and they can fight it amongst themselves to get to the top ranks, and then the guys that are the top sort of 4 to 5 ranks from that Southern Hemisphere crop will always get the opportunity. We'll bring them the Northern Hemisphere stars as well to be that measuring stick. So yeah, we're definitely keen on places like India, South Africa, Brazil, all those sorts of places.
Yeah. And how are you planning on overcoming this kind of obstacle that you're always going to have? You mentioned yourself that travel to Australia is difficult. I saw Artem today uploaded a video, 8 flights cancelled. I haven't watched it yet, but we kind of know that the journey was rough for him. So that is going
Yeah.
to be a problem forever. I don't think you can do anything to solve that. So how are you planning on overcoming that?
We Adam had such a rough run when it came to flights being cancelled. It was absurd. Uh yeah, 8 flights cancelled. That's the truth of it. Matt Conley was the one managing everyone's flight, so he was going grey by the second as we were trying to get everyone here. But I think that one of the lessons we learned is that we will hire a professional travel consultancy for AWE3, and we will probably insist that everybody's booked in to arrive at minimum 3 days, preferably 4 days prior to the event, so that there's that room should flights be delayed, pushed back, whatever. It means that we have to increase our costs with accommodation, but that's fine. We'd prefer to have a few $100 extra on accommodation than have an opponent just not make it and miss it because of a delay. So these are all things that you don't realize it until it's going on. And the flights were horrendous. But we will also potentially change the city that we're in. We were in Adelaide for the first two, which is a domestic flight away from the major international airports. So we may change to Sydney or to Melbourne or to Brisbane, and therefore there won't be that domestic flight as well. It'll just be an international straight in.
Yeah. And I, till about 2022, I think, yeah, there was no competition in terms of pay per view. There weren't enough options for the fans to be selective. But right now we have East versus West, King of the Table, kind of two premium. People are saying WL is going to return as well. We don't know about that for sure. We've been hearing that for more than 2 years now. And we have B Strong Arm Wrestling now, AWC Fight Night in Canada, and a bunch of other pay per views, Arm Gods, like at least 6, 7, 8 pay per views. So when somebody asks, why should I buy, let's say someone says to you, I can only buy one pay per view other than King of the Table and East versus West, why should I buy yours out of the four other options available?
Well, look, I love the free market. The free market is what determines everything, and yeah, there is a lot of choice now. It's all supply and demand, and there is a lot of supply, and the demand is limited within our sport. And I can see that. Like I know that 2.5 years ago, I put on a pay per view when Locked on a Dare faced Todd Hutchings, and I got 2011 sales or something back then. Like really, really impressive numbers, and it was one of the lowest quality streams I've ever seen in my life. But people watched it because it was a pioneer at the time. Um, Nowadays, yeah, there's the saturation's totally changed. So the why is I don't. It'll speak for itself. I don't want to personally give the reasons why. I just want the free market to determine that. And what I mean by that is that people will watch it, people will see it, and people will go, "Damn, that production was amazing." Um, we'll go from here and we'll buy it next time. And that's what, like, I think that AWE2 will achieve that. I think that even the people who didn't purchase it, when they've now seen the matches released, we did something different, that we released the matches within 24 hours after the event as well. So we kept that momentum going of the talking points, and we're straight out there. I think that when people see the quality of that, they'll realize that, wow, that would have been actually awesome to have seen live and to have chatted with everybody who was watching it live. I'm a big fan of live. I can't stand. I'm personally, I really struggle to find interest in watching a match um, after the fact and getting excited about it. I like to be in the chat with everyone watching it unfold and being able to predict what's going to happen next or whatever. That to me is 10 times more exciting. So I will always purchase a pay per view for live, even if you were going to release the match an hour later. I'd still want to purchase it so I could watch it live. So we have that policy where we will release things, but I think ultimately the production speaks for itself. The athletes are going to improve, and I think that if you when we announce who's on AWE3, which I can't do yet, but I'm having a meeting literally tonight about exactly this, on who we're officially inviting. I've put soft invitations out to a bunch of people already, and they've expressed interest. When we release the card for AWE3, and you know what the production's like because you've seen AWE2, I think our numbers are going to really explode because it'll be exciting. It'll be way more exciting than AWE2.
You mentioned Travis versus Guntas Baikovs. Is that match confirmed
It's not confirmed. Travis's interest is confirmed, however. Travis called me prior to AWE2 saying that he wanted to be part of it. And so that will certainly happen in some capacity. So I've got to speak to Travis. I know Gunter's and Marcus, to me, it was one of those matches that was like it could quite possibly be the right storyline for Travis. At his return. But there's many things to be considered. I know, like I said, I may be the right opponent for Gunter's as well. We've got to shuffle all the cards around and see where they best fit. But Travis has expressed interest in being part of an AWE event. We would love to have him.
I'd love to see you versus Travis as well. I think it's a perfect match right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, that would be fun. I tell you what, that might be the case. We'll see. We'll see. I can't imagine it. If I facing Travis would be too much fun.
Yeah. And Ryan, how are you managing or trying to find a balance between YouTube, social media, and your arm wrestling in the gym and performing on the table? Because others who have a separate job outside of arm wrestling, they can afford not to be so much frequent on social media. But for you, it is your job. So
Yeah.
there is no way that I can believe this is not harming you financially, focusing
Well,
more
yeah.
on arm wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, you're spot on that it has taken a hit financially, because I'm not producing as much content as I was. Um, but interestingly, like I built my YouTube channel up to a point where I thought to myself, okay, I think it's big enough now that I can actually let go of having to do daily content talking about the goings on of the community, and I can just be me. I can just do my matches, just do my training, and just do my preparation and thoughts and that on my own stuff. I made that choice around the time I was in Arm Wars, and yeah, it has taken a hit, but it's okay. We're at the point where I'm like, no, look, it's going to make it through. So I think that I can afford to continue down this path, which is ultimately exciting for me because it means I get to go all in on the training. Um, this match for me really solidified that thought too, because I could feel the benefits of that training. I felt stronger on the table than I've ever felt before. Felt very solid, and I know that's because of the last 9 months and the way that I've trained. So I'm excited about continuing that, and thankfully financially it's enough. Like I said, it certainly went down, but it's stabilized, and I think now again in the wake of AWE2, it's going to start growing again.
One final question before we talk about some of the questions from the community post that the audience, that the viewers wanted to ask you. About Engin Terzi, a match with Engin Terzi. You put out a video, and Engin once again, kind of responding to it. I'm not sure if you have watched it or not, but he was
I
like,
haven't seen it.
I have bigger plans in future. Why would I arm wrestle someone who is not even top 3,000 in the world? And he was saying stuff like that. So and
Yeah, fair enough.
I would like to mention Paul Lynn here as well. He mentioned something that I also did not like. He's a great friend, but Paul also said that it makes total sense that if somebody has a different vision than you, his thinking is different than you, then you kind of shouldn't have a match with him. And I'm like, that's the exact criteria why you should have a match against someone, just because you don't
Yeah.
like that person.
Yeah, look, I put out the interest in a match with Engin, because I agree with you because of the extreme contrast that we have in our situations. I think that for the sake of the fans, it's actually very interesting. I don't want to. I don't see Engin Terzi as a necessary step or anything like that. He's got his own objectives. At the 85 kilos, he wants to be the world champion. He's a higher caliber arm wrestler than I am, without a doubt, in respect to weight category balance. But I'm most interested in the entertainment of the sports fans, and I see that is as much as I don't want to have a match with England. I think he's been a bit of an idiot, to be honest, over the whole issue, the way he's handled himself. But I know that the fans would love to see that collide. That's what makes it interesting. And I think that his level at the moment, my level at the moment, I genuinely think it's a 50-50 match. I don't know which way it goes. So
Yeah.
for the sake of the fans, if King of the Table were to offer me that, for example, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Um, I won't be inviting him to AWE. He won't be inviting me to East vs West, clearly. But man, I'm sure the fans would be interested in seeing it. So I'm willing to put my personal differences aside for the sake of the match. If he's not, that's on him.
Yeah. I also think that in the shape that Engin showed up at King of the Table, it would have been a genuinely close match. And I read some of the comments that Ray beat you and Engin beat Ray comfortably, but Ray beat you when you were like 95 kilos, and now you're like 110 kilos.
I was
So
I was I was 88.7 kilos, pretty.
yeah, yeah, the weight cap
Yeah,
was
it's
90 kilos there. I get.
yeah, it's very different, obviously, and yeah, you'll never see me at that weight again, sort of thing. Way happier at this weight, way happier.
Yeah,
But like if you're just talking about my matches when it comes to actual matches, the most appropriate match for me, given that I'm in the AWE system, is Gunter's Bykos. The whole weight category thing is always it makes me laugh. I mean, I've copped a lot of criticisms over the Artem match that I was 20 kilos heavier, but those same people laughed at me when I lost to Mate Warangi, who was 50 kilos heavier than me, and that certainly wasn't an excuse. So the fans and all that sort of stuff will always talk about whatever. They'll always lean towards their own biases in whatever that they hope happens. For those people that they were all hoping that Artem would beat me, whatever, that's the first thing they grabbed onto was the 20 kilo difference. But like I think the most appropriate match for me is Gunter's Bykos. He's beaten Mario, he's beaten Marcus, he's the current AWE heavyweight champ. He's 128 kilos. I'm like 107, 108. Um, I won't be complaining about that 20 kilo difference. I actually look forward to it. So that's the most appropriate match, but it's not a particularly hugely marketable match. But I think maybe we could turn it into a very marketable match. Um, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I can't remember. But anyway,
yeah.
anyway,
When
what's
we are
next?
talking about Engin, like, what did you even do to piss off Engin Terzi? What was the main issue? Was it the live commentary, or was it
Yeah,
the
I think it
Reddit?
was to do with
I
the
think it was
live
the Reddit
commentary.
post.
It was the Reddit post in respect to the live commentary that I think pissed him off the most. It was the simple fact that he asked for me and other streamers to not do something. I said to him, "Well, let's have a talk about it because I strongly disagree with you on the value of it, whether it's good or bad or whatever." He blocked me. I posted on Reddit that he blocked me, and he wasn't able to tolerate the social reaction to that, and he took it the way he did, and then he kind of blew up as he does.
Yeah,
Pretty simple. I was very determined to be respectful to him the whole time. I spoke very calmly. Spoke very when I wrote a lot of community posts and all that sort of stuff. I spoke very respectfully, and I still am very respectful of him and his achievements in the sport. He wasn't. He went the other way. He went like off like a crazy explosion of emotion. He couldn't handle it, and he labeled me as a enemy of the sport and all this nonsense. So
but but
anyway,
but people, including me, have said that Engin shouldn't act this way. But I'll now say that the way Engin is, it is what made Engin who he is right now. The way he handles himself, the way he thinks or speaks about others respectfully and sometimes aggressively as well. And if he suddenly tries to change his personality, I don't think it would really work out for him. His aggressive behavior, his matchmaking is also really awesome. Like he says, I take like 15 minutes to set up a match. So I think he should keep on doing what he's doing
Yeah,
right now.
I don't expect Engin to change, but he now knows well and truly, and what he does with this information is up to him. But he now knows well and truly that I'm not going to bend a knee to say yes, I'll do anything you want me to do. I'm running my own ship, and in respect to live commentaries, if I want to go live, I'll go live. That's it.
Ryan, let's now switch to some of the viewers' questions and then we'll end this live stream. Let's see.
Beautiful.
Not live, but recorded video. Okay, first question is when you will ever pull someone in your own weight class? This one got most likes, 42 likes.
Yeah, of course. Like this always makes me laugh because the lack of, or let's describe it as the tunnel vision of people who have something against me. It's so ridiculous. I mean, they said, when will I pull someone in my weight class? Okay, I was the same weight as Bogdan Stoiker. I won it. I was 50 kilos lighter than Matej Rangi. Uh, Match before, so I was the same weight as Coach Ray. Yeah, so one out of my last four matches was I heavier than my opponent, and he was still the damn favorite going in, for goodness sake. He was 70% favorite in polls. So the truth of the matter is I pull people my weight all the time. My next opponent will be probably 20 to 30 kilos heavier than me. So it's just this weird tunnel vision that people have that want to grip onto whatever it is they're gripping onto in their own head. But anyway,
Good
they just
question.
need to open their eyes and actually analyze the data a bit more accurately. That's my answer.
We got a good response from Ryan, so I like the question. We need more questions like that. Can we expect Ryan to see in any upcoming events on East versus West or King of the Table? You've already answered that Engin is probably not going to invite
Well,
you, but King of the
100%
Table.
you will not see me at East West West. I don't want to go, even if I was invited, but he's not going to invite me. King of the Table, absolutely. Look, it's the conversation's already going. So I'm not going to say what's going, but I'm saying that I will tell you that it's highly, highly, highly likely you'll see me at King of the Table.
At which event?
I'm not going to say.
Okay. Okay. So
I'm not. It's not my
maybe.
place to say yet, but let's just say that they have reached out.
Okay, that makes sense. Why don't the rules apply to Ryan as they did to other competitors in AWE2? His humerus bone was at a decline and he was in a losing position, but no foul or warning. I think we discussed this question in detail.
Yeah,
We have already
just
discussed it.
say because I own the promotion. Just give them that.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. Yeah. Who are his dream next five opponents?
That's an interesting question. I'm very interested in climbing the ladder. I'm very interested in progressing myself. Look, if I could pick five opponents right now, just off the top of my head, um, in a very marketable column, there's people like Schoolboy. I think there's enough story there between what happened with Khaled Shell, Schoolboy, and I that would be an interesting little match. There's people like Krasimir Kostadinov. I'd love to pull a hook puller of that caliber. Look. There's a match same weight, 105 kilos. That would be wonderful. I've said I'd love to pull Gunter's Baikovs here at AWE. He's I think the right match. I've just seen people like Brendan Lemon Mulvihill do quite well. I think that's a good match. I think that here's another one. Here's another one. Look, I would love to touch the hands of someone of the Matt Mask level, of the Marcio Barboza level. Those kind of guys are, I think, step above in status, in obviously legends of North America. Those are the kind of guys that I would love to get the experience of, to see exactly how close I am. Am I close enough to challenge them? I don't know. Maybe. Am I close enough to beat them? Outside shot, but not impossible. I would love to touch hands with someone like Matt Mask, Marcio, Ron Barth, that sort of caliber.
Or you forgot Neil Pickup.
Yeah, no. Throw him out the back.
Why? But why?
No, no way, no way. What do you
So
call
if
it?
Neil invites you to pull himself at Armwrestling, what's the or he says that invite me to AWE to pull you, Ryan. What are your thoughts about that?
Flat out, not interested. See you later.
But why?
This has already been done. This is already been done. You're just trying to get a scoop here, Pradeep. No,
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 no.
no. I'm
It's
genuinely interested. I've
I'm
I've
not.
always talked
I'm
about this that if two people genuinely have some serious beef, they should settle it
okay.
on the table. That's
For
the
me,
best match.
there is a line. Like I have serious beef with Engin, for instance, but it hasn't crossed the line of where I'm like cut ties. I don't want anything, even, no matter how much money you offered me. I'm not pulling him. It's at that point with Neil. There is no. You could offer me $1 million for the match, and I would say no. I'm
And
not interested. And I'm not going to go into why. That's just all I'll leave it at is I'm not interested. There is nothing you could offer me that would make me work with Neil.
but Neil said otherwise. He said that he's ready to pull you.
No, well, good on him, but It's never going to happen. Never,
Okay, that's
never.
interesting. So next question, is Ryan satisfied with his current weight and whether he is planning to pack on more mass?
I'm very happy with my current weight. I think that given my training program and where I'm at in that program, I do expect to go up a little more. I think that I have enough body fat that I could realistically drop 5, 6, 7 kilos and be ready for a tournament or something like that. I think 105 kilos is where I would compete if it was in a tournament right now. But I am super excited about the progress that I'm making. So, like for this match, when I said I was 110, if the truth be told, I was 110 with clothes and shoes and a wallet and a phone in my pocket. That was the 110. So my true weight is about 107.5 at the moment. Um, I think that I will continue to get heavier. I think that I'm only just really waking up my legs, my lower back, my upper back in my training. And I think there's a lot of growth still there that will occur. So I think that I will go above 110 genuinely over the next 6 to 12 months. And I don't intend on limiting that. I intend on just getting as good as I possibly can. My goal is to just become as best I can in the sport. And I'm not pursuing a weight category. I'm pursuing my highest overall rank that I can get in the world. I don't expect to ever get to the Levan Saginashvili levels. For those wondering that are hoping for that soundbite, but I
There were
am.
many comments about you versus Levan. I didn't choose those questions.
But what I am enjoying most is chasing the strongest I can possibly be.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about, like, you just answered my question that you are not pursuing a weight category, but still, if let's say when you were about 100 kilos, cutting down to a 90 didn't make sense for you, but you ever thought about going from 110 to 105? Maybe at that weight you feel good, and the next day you will be 110
Mm.
anyways.
I have always struggled to lose body fat without losing power. Um, from the beginning of my time in the sport, I was for a long time of the opinion that if I was to cut down weight, I'd do really well compared to whatever I was. I did that at the beginning. I cut from 85 kilos where I walked in at the sport down to under 80 and I competed there. And I did poorly every time I cut. I did the same cutting from 95 down to under 90 for a season. And I did poorly every time I cut. Every time I would then compete just at the weight that I was when I was 85 kilos, I'd do really well in the 90 kilo category. When I was 95 kilos, I'd do really well in the 100 kilo category. And that seems to still be the case. I cut down to face Ray. I got smashed. 3 weeks later, I competed at my weight. I beat Bogdan. Um, and it's now the same again. I don't know what it is, but I struggle to drop fat without losing strength significantly. So for me to ever go to that approach, I would really need to feel within myself that I've reached my limit of strength potential. And now it's about, okay, trimming up and getting down. But because I think the trimming up and getting down needs to happen over 6 to 12 months for me to do it without losing power. So because I don't feel like I've reached my strength cap yet, I'm not yet ready to start trying to get lean. I'm still more interested in getting stronger. So I think for a while at least, and for when I say a while, I'm guessing years before you start to see me say, okay, time to get lean. So I think I'll be 120 before I'll be one. I think I'll be 120 and fat before you'll see me at anything lean.
Yeah. So, one personal observation from my side, and a question as well. Are you getting more okay with dealing with the hate, or are you getting less hate right now? Because in the past, people were saying that Ryan gets a lot of hate, he has a really thick skin. But I saw some moments where hate kind of really bothered you, and I was like, no, maybe Ryan doesn't have such a thick skin. But right now, I've stopped seeing you getting bothered, and that is very recent, maybe like 6 months. Last 6 months you
Yeah.
don't just get bothered by any hate. So is it that the hate is coming less towards your way, or are you getting more used to of it?
Yeah. I think that when I reflect on my entire journey on YouTube, I've gone through different chapters of growth, and with each chapter of growth comes a different chapter of let's call it hate, trolls, whatever we want to say it. people who like to enjoy to highlight things that will negatively trigger myself. Um, it's an evolution. You get used to it. You move past it. You get a new wave of it, and you have to go through that cycle again. And every now and then, every now and then, something gets through the net, your defenses, and actually gets to you. I think during the height of my YouTube channel, where I was putting out a lot of content, I was more open and vulnerable to it then. Since I've withdrawn and all I'm doing is training, there's just less opportunity for the haters to throw things at me. Especially if I'm successful. I think the obvious the most effective way to shut up a hater is to move past the limitation that they said was there and that existed. My match against Adam, in some respects, did that. For an example, it's obvious. Like when you look at my physical for my physique, there's obvious changes in the last 9 months. So again, people they're running out of opportunities to say something that'll actually get to me. Like there's not much that you could say that would get to me now in terms of my arm wrestling and my journey. It's I feel so good about where things are headed. I feel so good in my gym routine. I feel really optimistic about AWE. Like there's so much good around me right now that anything negative thrown at me, it just bounces off at the moment. So I don't expect that to last. Like I said, it goes through seasons. I think that all those seasons will happen and they'll continue to happen. And I think the day, should I ever get to a world title shot at my weight, for example, I still think that day people will be calling me delusional, and I'm fine with that. That's okay. Even if I get to the level of world champ, they'll then be saying Ryan's delusional. He thinks he's this, he thinks he's that, whatever. So it is what it is. I have become more comfortable with it, and it is easier to deal with now that I have stepped back in terms of how much content I'm creating.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Ryan. It was a very pleasant experience talking with you, and I really hope that AWE2 reaches to premium levels like the two big organizations that we have right now, and even further, hopefully in the future. And I'm also looking forward to your matches, and I wish you a lot of success there as well. Thanks, brother.
Thank you very much, Philippe. And yeah, congratulations once again on the 30,000, man. I no doubt you'll continue to grow very rapidly.
When am I getting a match against Aussie arm wrestler at AWE?
That's the match I've heard. I've heard lots of people say that. I could like seriously, I've heard
You
lots
you
of
would
people
you
say
would
that.
start hating me after I smash your buddy left and right in his
So.
hometown.
I don't know. He's pretty strong, Jack. He's pretty strong. I will give it to you. He's pretty strong. I've seen you closing your 2.5s or whatever grippers too. So no doubt you're strong too. But I don't know. It's actually an interesting match. It is.
Thanks, brother. Bye.
Okay.